What's going on, tile friends? Welcome back to another episode of Tile Money, the podcast where we discuss the business of being a tile contractor. I am your host, Luke Miller, a licensed California tile contractor. And here I am in beautiful Portland, and I'm sitting down with the Stoneman crew. We want to introduce them and get to know their background, get to see how they're doing things and working like a team, like a real well-oiled machine up here in Portland. I want you to know that my podcast, Tile Money, is sponsored by Laticrete International and made possible by the NTCA, National Tile Contractors Association. So, Jason, thanks for opening your home. Jeremy, Shawn, why don't we go start with Jeremy here, introduce yourself, and tell us what you do on the crew.
My name is Jeremy Bickett, CTI number 1353. My main job working for Stoneman Construction is, to take Jason's his vision on his installations and, and make it happen. He hands me a task and an order, and I put it together, and, it works.
Nice. Right on. So installing tile.
I'm installing tile, yep.
Shawn, how about yourself? What are you up to on the crew?
Shawn McDaniel, also Jason's brother, and also Sherman Showers.
Oh, Sherman.
I guess I would say I probably do 90% of the building of the showers. Go in and fur the walls, get the walls ready for board.
Yeah.
Help Jason sometimes with the pans. And then I do 100% of the waterproofing, and I also do 100% of the grouting and most of the siliconing also.
So you're the first man in and the first man out.
He's the man behind the scenes.
The starting guy and the finishing guy.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
I like it. That's an important role.
It is.
What about you, Jason? You're the owner?
Yeah. I'm the owner, certified tile installer number 1273. I'm a CTEF, Ceramic Tile Education Foundation regional evaluator for the certification program. NTCA state ambassador and 2018 Rockstar winner coverings award. Basically what I do, I set tile maybe 20% of the time. Sometimes more. I'm setting a little bit more tile now than I have been in the recent past.
Okay.
I do some of the
red jobs.
The red jobs is what we call them. Red, yellow, and green.
Yeah. Priority.
Red. Well, red is just. I heard that from somebody. Red being the job that is of utmost importance, and that's not to say that Jeremy and Brandon Cook can't handle the work on those jobs. Jeremy has come so. I mean, the level of quality that Jeremy's putting out right now in installation it's unbelievable. He's one of the best tile craftsmen in the country that I see on the forums. His work is impeccable. So, Jeremy can definitely handle those. But I kind of enjoy the special custom stuff with the we're doing one now with some crazy linear drain application. We do a lot of curbless. We're doing a ton of curbless right now. Just so you guys know, you're gonna see this happen. We're down here at a floating home community where I live, and this guy here, people pay him to he's got 4 or 5 boats, and so he runs around little tours.
Yeah.
So basically,
anybody who's listening to this should jump on my YouTube channel, Tile Money, and watch this video in particular, because we've got a gorgeous setting here right on the water, and a cruise ship little boat just went by, and the girls were saying, "Oh, is that a podcast?"
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
It's pretty rad. To add on to that, I come into a job, I have a vision for it, and we talk as a crew. Not to say that is perfect. I think as a crew we should talk more. It's hard when you're really busy to get together and sit down and talk about things. And I've had a lot of people message me saying, "Gosh, you guys look like everything's just perfect the whole way, and everything just runs great." That is so far from the truth. We are all dealing with battles every day on jobs. But my role is to make sure that we have a system going in. We know what we're going to do start to finish.
Quarterback in the job.
Yeah, and then I hand off, and then I also know what my brother's strong suits are, and I know what JB's strong suits are. And we have another installer named Brandon Cook, and I know what his strong suits are. So that's really where I come into play.
Kind of putting people where they need to be.
Absolutely, yeah.
As the leader of the crew, the owner, what kind of leadership skills are you having to implement, do you find, to keep things running smooth?
Yeah, that is hard. I mean, I've never taken a leadership class, and I would love to have that. I'd like you to ask the guys how they view me as a leader, because I know that I can, I'll speak very frankly here that there are times where I can be extremely difficult. My expectation of what we're putting out is extremely high, and so I know I can do that myself. So I'm not a guy that's sitting out here expecting Jeremy to put an install. I don't look at Jeremy and say, "Hey, Jeremy, this thing needs to be perfect." He knows, looking back at me, that I can do it. Yeah. I think that there's a level of respect between us because of that. Yeah. I'm not a guy saying, "Hey, go cut that tile with a grinder."
That's why I do. That's why I do respect you, not only as a business owner and as a person, but as an installer, because you never make me do anything that you can't do yourself, and you're always supportive, and we talk about things and we discuss things, and we're on the same page all the time.
Right. So I think that, and with Shawn, with Sherman here, the truth is that Shawn would teach me. Like once I showed him the application with waterproofing and got William with Ardex and John Esteve with Ardex and whatever company, if it's Laticrete, we've been talking to John DeCina with Laticrete a lot lately about Spectralock and doing some different things. Shawn, he tells me what we're gonna do. I mean, I might walk in and say, "Hey, we've got this funky linear drain application, so we're gonna do it this way." But at the end of the day, the waterproofing is his design, really.
Yeah, he took the method and he perfected it.
Yeah,
this is what he did. You showed him the method. He took it, he perfected it, and he made it his own. And he pulls it off every single time. And it's
cool.
Basically day to day for me. Jason will talk, the evening before, and he tells me where I'm going, and that's it. I'm gone for the day, and I pretty much, if I run into something that I am kind of questioning, I'll give him a ring, but I'm pretty much on my own all day, every day. I just I get through it. I know what I'm doing, so I just pretty easy.
You're out there.
Yeah.
What are you doing to perfect these systems? Just using them or just researching? Do you do a lot of reading, or how?
I don't. I think it's just right there on the floor in the shower working with the product.
Just getting your hands on it.
Yeah. Sometimes you run into weird corners or weird curbs, and you kind of just have to work your way through it.
Yeah.
If I don't like how it looks when I've got it down, I'll peel it back up and just kind of start the process all over again. Yeah. Until it's, to me, perfect.
So what you're saying is basically you've learned to perfect it by making the mistakes.
I think that's kind of the best way.
So every time you go to do something, you're learning and you're taking it and you're trying to perfect it. But without the mistakes, you're not going to get any better at doing it.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not to say that just to give Shawn a little bit of credit and Jeremy a little bit of credit in this conversation. We're not doing easy applications.
No,
I mean, let's not get it twisted here.
Yeah.
I'm putting us in situations and JB, I give JB a lot of credit for this particular one that we're working on right now, because he reminded me of the quick drain and the fact that, hey, Jay, you've done this a couple times. We've done this a couple times. Let's maybe think about doing that. So
we can do it.
Yeah. So and there's never we look at these things and the customer says, is it possible? And I kind of go, holy crap, this is gonna be really difficult, but we can do it. Coming into it for Shawn with the waterproofing aspect and the prepping part of it, there's a couple things in there that just have to be done by me because I'm the one that's tuned up to it. But when it comes to the waterproofing, Shawn comes in, he looks at it, and he knows, you know, he'll ask me a couple questions about what's going on with this particular drain. What are we going to use to bond to the drain? Because we've had some issues with products bonding to ABS and PVC plastic. So, but Shawn, I put these guys on jobs that are 10 level jobs when it comes to difficulty. Jeremy just did a niche recently that was my design, that had the whole niche was glass mosaic. It was an infinity niche. It had 2 glass shelves and Schluter and Deco top and bottom. And I think, you know, I'm definitely putting these guys in tough spots. But what's really great about that is that when they're done, when Jeremy's done with that, he can step back and say, I did that. I'm capable of this. And what that means is that on the next one, we'll step it up another level.
Prepared.
We'll step it up another level. We'll step up
Just
and
keep pushing, huh?
Yeah, Derek Crow called me, who's a member in GTP and a very, very talented young guy, called me up and said, how did you get in a position to be doing these really ridiculously cool installs?
Yeah, I wanted to go there for sure.
All right, tile friends, I thought I'd just jump in right here real quick with some industry news. I know you all want to know how Jason is getting these intricate, high dollar jobs, and of course he's going to continue to share some insights into that. You know, a lot of the secret is hard work and just rolling up your sleeves and getting to it. But as we can see from the interview, even thus far in, he's built a systematic approach to his business. Different people have different roles in the company, and I think that's really some valuable insights right there. So anyways, we've got some industry news right now sponsored by the NTCA. And I want to let you friends know, if you're listening to this on the 9th or the morning of the 10th of October, you've got another chance here to learn about NTCA's new comprehensive health benefits plan. So this is one last chance to catch this webinar. It's going to be on Thursday the 10th, and I'll have a link here in the show notes. So you're going to want to check this out to see all the comprehensive health benefits that they're offering with this plan: medical, dental, vision, life, and disability benefits, and then there's more supplemental benefits and lifestyle products. So it's really a great plan. There's no eligibility restrictions or minimum participation requirements. So join the webinar to learn more about it. Click on the link. There's no registration required. You can watch it on your smartphone or your computer or tablet, of course. You can also just dial in with your phone and listen on the speaker if that's the best case for you. And the phone number and access code are in the show notes. So check it out, friends. That would be great for you if you don't have health insurance and you're not offering your employees health insurance. This is a great way to get started. All right, back to this great interview with Jason and his crew.
Yeah.
Before we jump over there, let's talk real quick, just while it's on my mind. You two are brothers. How long have you been working together?
3 years.
This is our 3rd year.
3 or 4 years?
End of this year will be 4.
4 years?
Yeah.
What is that like? Or can you share any difficulties you've had and how you've overcome that? Because I'm sure there's people listening who, you know,
brothers,
maybe are brothers or siblings or husband and wife team, you know, somebody really close, and you guys are obviously close, you know, you haven't let it come between you.
Yeah. I mean, I guess there really hasn't been any like really big arguments or anything. We don't like really ever go at each other. You
Okay.
know? I'm a little difficult to get along with. My attitude can kind of, instead of 100%, it's 50 or 40, you know, and that's just, I do my best. That's kind of who I am, you know. I'm a good guy, but I can be a little grumpy.
Yeah.
Like some of my family members call me Mr. Happy.
But at the end of the day, you have your brother's back all the time.
It's totally the opposite, and that's why they call me that.
Yeah.
So,
right on.
So, you know, I do what I can.
But you know, but it sounds like, I mean, from your role you were describing, you told us earlier, you're like, I just, you know, Jason calls me and tells me where I could go, and then I just go there and I do my thing. It sounds like you liked that kind of environment. You like to work alone. Is that correct?
I believe that I work best alone.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah,
that's cool. So a big part of this is just admitting who we are, and just like learning how to work like with
And
ourselves.
everybody
first
has a
of all.
place. Yeah. I mean,
learning how to stay in your lane.
To add on to that, I think most of us, and I would say this as a whole, not just in tile, but I think artistic people that are masters at their craft, and we can get into the whole outliers book of 10,000 hours and things like that to become a master at what you do.
Right.
We are masters, including yourself. Your work is impeccable as well.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah. We're masters at what we do. And I think when you get, I'm not trying to blow myself up and boost myself up. That's just a fact. We have put so much time into this trade, and you've seen the work that we do, and it speaks for itself. So I think with that said, that when you're that type of individual, it's hard to have somebody else around you when you're diving into something and you're really intense about it. I think that we like to be by ourselves in that atmosphere because it's hard to be around somebody, because Jeremy and I just worked together on Friday and we did really, really great. I was able to bounce some stuff off him. He bounced some stuff off me, and that's really great. But I think for the most part, we like to work alone. I really think that we do, you know, and it works well for all of us to do that, for sure.
Cool.
Adding to the conversation about my brother and I and whether or not we get along, I think that the really cool thing about having a brother work with is that we're very family oriented. We always have been. At the end of the day, no matter what, I know that I can trust him. He has my back, and he knows that if I say something, if I say that needs to be done this way because this is the way it needs to be done, he believes me. And to add to that, Jeremy is very much a brother with us.
Yeah.
I feel Jeremy is a brother, like I feel Shawn is a brother. And I think everybody knows that if I ask them to do something, if I need something of them, they know that I'm not just spewing garbage. It really, really means something. I'm asking because it's important to what we're trying to accomplish here. And what we're trying to accomplish here is I want all of us to be looked at as the standard in tile.
That's
not
nice.
just in this town, but in this world.
Yeah.
I want to be spoken of as, that's the Stoneman crew. They are the crew.
I love it. And it all starts at the foundation. It all starts with the prep. And you were showing me around your house, and it's a beautiful house here. It's beautiful tile work that you all did. But one thing that stood out to me was Jason kept saying, and there's 2 coats of Ardex 8 and 9 here, and there's a soft joint right here. Where is it? Oh yeah, the soft joint right here. And there's this liner, and there's this, and then there's 1/8" soft joints, 100% silicone here. And it was all about the prep and all about the standards that, just calling myself out. Like, I really hate working with silicone and putting those soft joints in. And there's certain things. And if I showed you my work, I wouldn't be mentioning, like, I would just be like, oh yeah, it's nice work. Let's stand 20 feet back and look at it and, enjoy it. But
good.
you're like, get right up in there, Luke.
Oh yeah.
Move
I got
those rocks.
I got a funny story
Yeah.
about this houseboat, actually.
Yeah.
Jeremy, I think, was here. It was getting late. I grouted the upper deck, and I left.
And mind you, the houseboat wasn't in this location.
No, it was at a very,
40
very
miles away.
spooky location.
about an hour and a half
Out
up
in a
river.
slough.
Okay.
So this is how dedicated we actually are and how we work together. It's like
I was in Idaho
9 o'clock at night
doing a CTI evaluation.
Okay.
and Jason calls me and he's like, "Hey, how'd the deck go?" And I said, "It went great." How'd that expansion joint go? And I said, "Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't put one in it."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, you're going to have to go back out there." And I said, "Dude, it's the scariest place in the world.
Yeah.
There's nobody out there."
9
It's
o'clock at night.
by the time
Hour
I
and
got
a
there, it
half
was
away.
10. It was an hour away.
Yeah.
And
Have to worry about river
it's
pirates.
on this, you pull up on this old creaky, stilted
Wow.
dock.
Dark.
And then
So
you
dark.
walk 60 feet down to the
Yeah.
water and the lights click on and it's pitch black. There's nobody around.
Yeah.
And there's no lights on in the house.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm a grown man, you know,
yeah.
but it's just like,
Still.
it's kind of,
you weren't.
it's down on the water. It's kind of spooky,
Yeah.
you know, it's like a movie almost.
Wow.
And I go in there, I click the lights on, I get my razor blade out, my knife, and it was still soft enough to get it all out of there. I vacuumed it out, and I soft jointed it.
So what you're saying is you were more scared of your brother than the situation you were in.
No, no, but
Getting that
that's
soft
I
joint
mean
in there.
that's what we do.
That's a great. Oh, I love it. I love that story. You know,
We
a lot
couldn't
of
have
people
left
would
it.
have left it.
Yeah.
That's had to have played into this next subject of how you keep getting yourselves into higher end jobs.
Yeah, I think that's a question that Derek, and I want to mention Derek Crow again because I truly believe that Derek is a really talented kid from Florida, and he's going through this right now where he wants to do these higher end jobs. He wants to know how we're getting into these situations with these higher end jobs. And also, I want to real quick before we jump to that, credit to my brother, and talk about what if to people that are watching, that's how important expansion is on an exterior deck application that gets direct sunlight. Having expansion in that situation, extremely important.
Yeah.
Just so everybody knows, Caesar, the dog here, Mr. C, waves it's personal to him. So if there's some waves, Mr. C is going to completely lose his mind. So just be prepared for that. But so how we've gotten into these jobs like this is really, and what I told Derek was, you know, that what happened with JB in that situation was, you know, the customer said, "Is it going to be more expensive?" And I said, "You know what? Yeah, but I'm not going to charge you for that. Like, you buy the drain."
Really?
We'll do the work. We'll do the extra work, because what that does is it gives all of us as a crew when we're done with this thing, we can all step back and say, who else would have been able to do that?
Yeah.
Who else would have thought about that? And who else would have executed that at this level? I mean, I would be proud to bring a master tile setter like yourself or Robert Davis or Matt Taylor, anybody in that on that level, into that house and say, hey, take a look at this work.
Wow.
You know, we pulled this off.
Yeah.
And I think that is, there has to be something in you. And I say this all the time to the guys. And Jeremy has really harnessed this internally and mentally. There's got to be something in you that steps back, that looks at your job. You have to have something in you that says, I did that, and that is so badass, and nobody else can pull that off.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's how I want to be viewed as an installer. I want people to say, well, there's only one crew in town that could have done this job, because you know, not to say Hawthorne Tile, we've got some pretty incredible people around here that we're allies with, you know, because Hawthorne is totally ridiculous, and Rob Melquist and Robert Davis and these guys are amazing, and Jeff
Ian
Okapinti and Ian and Lee Grunmeyer, all incredible mechanics, and Tom Hobelt. So, but I think
Brian
that's
Stevenson.
what we've done. Brian Stevens, we've done some things out here that, you know, that you've got to sacrifice the money and say, I don't care about the money. I care about walking away from that saying, I did that.
Remember the conversation we had the other day when we were talking about the level of jobs that we're doing. The reason why we're doing these higher end installs that are really technical is because we're not scared to do them.
Right.
We're using the best products, and we're using the proper method, and we're going in there and we're doing everything we can to make it perfect, and it shows in our finished product. I mean, to be honest, like 90% of our jobs are curbless. They have heat wire. They have full expansion around the perimeter through the entire system.
Yeah.
They're poured with K22F or LBB. We're doing 8+9 on top of that. We're setting with X5, X78, where you know, from top to bottom, it is really clean. And when you're using really nice products and you're using them properly, you know, and you're maxing out your prep, it makes the entire installation fall together.
Right.
When your walls are plumb and they're flat and you start setting tile, sometimes you have to laugh to yourself because you're just trialing the wall, you're keying it in, you're trialing it, you're back buttering your tile, and you're sticking them up there, and you're using a tuning system, and you're thinking to yourself, why am I even using this tuning system? I'm only tuning it very small amounts.
Right.
Because the prep is so clean.
Yeah.
And it's perfect. And I mean, we have days where we get
Not
into it
always.
with each other because, we'll call each other out on stuff that's a 64th. I'm like, look at this bow. It's 6 inches wide and it's a 64th off.
Yeah.
Look at it. I'm like, what am I going to do there?
We can totally just real quick talk about this. I got into Jeremy pretty hard recently because Shawn, we were doing a weedy shower and there was a little bit of an in-bow on this right wall, and Jeremy called me up and he was like, dude, I'm sick of these bows, and Shawn, and we gotta get this prep, this is like happened again, and blah 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 blah. And I said, brother, stop for a second. I was like, dude, listen to yourself. I said, we are the most spoiled tile crew in the world. Like, dude, the floors that we're setting over, I set that floor for this curbless that we're working on, and Jeremy set a floor that we poured with John Esteve from Ardex with the 30 by 18.
It was the easiest set I've ever done.
And it's unbelievable how flat our substrates are. I mean, I remember, and I'm sure, Luke, you can speak on this, back in the day when we weren't tuning up anything, and it was like lifting up tile and blopping a dab of thin set in the corner to add to it and try to get the corner up. Yeah, sticking wedges underneath it, bags of thin set on top when we're done to get them to weigh down a little bit. And I told Jeremy, I'm like, dude, you are a spoiled little brat right now because you're worried about like a 3/16 to an eighth of an inch
the
in a
only reason
wall.
why I say something is because I know that that's not it for us. Like, we can achieve
perfection.
Yeah.
And we got to keep raising the bar.
Well, this is
I expect it.
Yeah.
This is I seriously have goosebumps right now because it's very common to meet a tile business owner and a single installer, and he's passionate. He loves his products. He loves his perfection. But it's really uncommon to meet a whole crew of guys who, we're sitting here on a Sunday recording a podcast about tile. I mean, you guys are giving your time and you're talking about this stuff with passion and love, and I just love it. I mean, let's talk about how you built this crew. Jeremy, let's hear your story. You've been installing for a while, right?
I've been installing for about 20 years now.
Yeah.
I got my start from a guy in Lafayette, Indiana. He was just a good old boy, and he taught me how to do tile, carpet, hardwood, pretty much every type of flooring.
Okay.
But, tile is where I kind of I like doing it.
Yeah.
That was the one that stuck out to me the most.
That's cool.
I started out just working for him for a couple of years, and then I went out on my own, and I started picking up residential jobs, just small kitchens, bathrooms, showers. I was probably doing them all incorrectly at the time, I'm sure, but and then I moved up to new construction, and I started using Schluter products when it first came out, the Curdy, and I mean, this was when it first hit the market, and I was using that, and I did that for a while, and then I wanted to challenge myself, and I knew that there was a lot of work downtown in Indianapolis commercially, and I wanted to see if I could literally go toe-to-toe with some of these guys down there. I wanted to see where I was at as an installer. Could I do it? Could I go in there, read the prints, manage the job, manage the expectations, and go in there and pull it off? And I could, because I was pretty fast at doing it.
Yeah.
But I worked for a really great company in Indianapolis called CCI, top-notch company down there. I learned a lot about products. That's when I started learning about Ardex and Shonox and pouring and stuff like that. They threw me out on it. It was probably a 6,000 to 7,000 square foot pour, and this building was at Eli Lilly, and it was built in the 1800s, and they actually used to use the building and pull horses with carriages down it to move stuff around in the building. I mean, this floor was probably like a FF 20 or a 30 as far as floor flatness or floor. It was horrible.
Yeah.
And they handed me a laser, and he said, well, I need you to pin this floor with these Ardex pegs. And I was like, okay. He's like, well, we got to come up with a material amount to, you know, to give them an estimate on what it's going to cost. And I actually found the problem because I had 3 different types of plank. I had a 12-inch by 4-foot plank. I believe it was like an 8-inch and a 4-inch, and it was all patterned. And these were big tiles, and I was going over spots that was 3/4 of an inch out of level and like 1.5 foot, like humps and dips. And when I brought it to the attention of one of the architects, I said, you know, this is an industry standard. And he was like, what do you mean this? You're going to have to make it work. We'll get you more mortar. I said, no, this tile requires, you know, an 1/8 inch and 10 feet for this. And I found a $100,000 mistake.
Wow.
I found it. And they were angry about it.
Yeah.
Because now they had to spend the money to level this floor. So anyway, long story short, they send me in with the laser. I had no idea what I was doing, but I figured it out, and I figured out a way to
flat.
to pin it properly, you know, by using the laser and coming up with a mathematical system of measuring and being able to move the laser around anywhere I wanted in the building without changing the elevation of the floor by shimming the laser.
Yeah.
And we ended up doing it, and it turned out really great, and it was a beautiful install. And, you know, I was working commercially doing that, and I joined GTP. And at the time, there was, you know, there wasn't a lot of members.
350 members.
Wow, yeah.
But I joined it, and I was like, oh, wow, a tile forum?
Yeah.
I'm like, is this even real? And then I got on there, and I started seeing what some of these guys were doing, and then I started questioning my own ability.
Yeah.
I'm like, am I doing things right? If I post this job, is somebody going to, you know, start smashing on me because I'm doing something wrong? And then I started seeing all the different products out there, and then I realized, I'm like, wow, you know, this isn't the, you know, the top of the ladder. This goes further than where I'm at.
Right.
You know, and then I realized I thought I was the baddest dude on the planet. I'm like, I'm Jeremy Bickett, you know, I'm tile god in Indianapolis. I mean, come on, man. I was just the best dude on the block. You know, the next guy over was probably better.
And
you know,
I think
you got
that's
guys
what,
out there.
So when what's to not to interrupt, but to add on to it, that what I think, and people know this watching that are in forums, what ends up happening with these forums is that you start to see people and then you pay attention to that installer.
Yeah.
So to add on to what Jeremy's saying, that's what was happening. I saw Jeremy, because we were getting into pours at the same time. And I saw Jeremy doing these commercial pours and then coming back in the next day and dropping down like 600 square feet of tile.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here going, what the hell? This guy's a nut job.
Yeah.
It's because it was flat, though.
Right, and it's because
otherwise that would
of
have been
the prep.
200 square foot.
Yeah. So what ended up happening was we had this. I'm paying attention to Jeremy, and unbeknownst to me at the time, he's paying attention to me in my work. And so we had a big job in Bandon, Oregon, which is about 4.5 hours away from here. So I'm driving down there with Dave Bitton and my brother doing a live video, and there's probably 400 members in GTP at the time, maybe 1,000 at that time. And I put a post out and said, well, we're about to go prep all these showers, these 5 showers.
1,000 pounds of tile.
Yeah. Well, actually, that wasn't that trip. This was the prep trip. So we went down there, and on that, I remember where I was. I'm I-5 South heading down to Bandon, and I'm like, hey, if anybody wants to come down here in a couple weeks and set 5 showers with me and Dave and my brother and do all of the countertops, 12 undermount sinks, all weedy showers, 7-foot by 10-foot ceilings with windows, curbs, shelves, 60 square foot bathrooms, upstairs bathroom that had a deco strip, and you know, it was insane. Yeah. And so Jeremy, on that live video, said, I'll come out there. Yeah. And I was like, seriously? Because, dude, I mean, we never thought about, like, are you really, like, you're going to fly to set tile with somebody? That seems kind of weird, you know what I mean? Like, we're just tile.
But I wanted to see where I was at.
Right. Yeah.
As
so
an
Jeremy,
installer.
So we did all the prep.
Yeah.
We got it all prepped and flood tested. I bought a ticket for Jeremy, and so...
Yeah, and you know, we came out here, and at first I was really nervous. Like the whole flight out here, I was thinking, I'm like, I hope that when I show up on this job that I'm mixing my mud properly and I'm troweling the right way and I'm backbutting. I even questioned whether I was using the clips properly.
Yeah.
I'm like, do I need to put a little dollop of mortar on it before I stick it under the tile? I didn't know, and I was a little scared, but at the same time, I was excited because I knew I got to see, where I was. Where am I in this industry?
Yeah.
Do I have room to grow? And, I got out here, and me and Jason, we rode together all the way out here, and it happened really
Shawn
fast.
and Dave, quick little insert here. Shawn and Dave had picked up all the tile, which was a ton of tile.
Yeah.
Each room had different tiles on each wall. It was a lot going on to manage. And Shawn and Dave already took off. Jeremy and I picked up the countertops, which was a lot of countertops.
I never
5
picked up solid surface in my
bathrooms.
life.
He helped me load up the trailer.
Good way to start the week.
And so we ended up having a 4.5 hour drive to Bandon, and it was a great time for us. We literally had 4.5 hours of talking, and we didn't know each other.
Yeah.
All he knew was me on the forum, and I knew him on the forum. So,
Yeah.
But on the way, I basically said, you and I are going to be setting some tile in here, and that's the way this is going to go down. So we get there.
We had a deadline, 10 days.
And we had a deadline. We said 10 days. We get there, and I said, Jeremy, you take that bathroom. I'm going to take this bathroom. Identical bathrooms. The only difference was mine had a herringbone floor. His had a 12 by 24 floor.
Yeah.
And I said, first day we're doing every shower floor, curb, and bathroom floor in 5 bathrooms. First day, we're getting them all done. And so, so I start setting mine. Jeremy starts setting his.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, and when I started setting, and I was a little nervous, and I got in there, and I was doing my thing, and I'm thinking, I'm going to smoke this guy. He ain't nothing, man. I'm Jeremy Bickett, I've been doing tile for 20 years. I was born into it.
Yeah.
But,
That's
so
cool.
I'm like, I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to see what he's doing.
Yeah.
So, I get my stuff dry cut, my pan dry cut, and I go in there, and he's already got it dry cut set, and he's working on the curb, and I was like, oh no, I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not as good as what I think I am. I'm going to have to step up my game. So I put my head down, and I went right back in there, and I was like, I'm going to play catch-up mode. And I finally got to the point where I was caught up with him, and he just kept going. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, this is going to be a long 10 days. So, and I, at the end of the day, he looked at what I did. I looked at what he did. Shawn looked at what we both did. And he was like, man, good job, you guys, and we knocked out a lot of stuff.
Wow.
And we had the whole job done in 6 days.
Wow. That's crazy.
And so,
I had all the prep done before everybody got there.
Yeah. So that was really how Jeremy got introduced to us. And what I realized immediately was that there's no stopping Jeremy.
Yeah.
And there's no stopping.
I had a lot of room to improve.
There's
from
no
there.
stopping me, and there's no stopping my brother, and there's no stopping Dave Bitten.
That's
No.
wild.
So we ended up getting that thing done in 5.5, 6 days, start to finish, grout,
Wow.
silicone, and out.
Wow.
Actually, full disclosure here, we used acrylic on that
Yeah.
job.
We did.
And then Shawn, so not to take it too much time on it, but Jeremy, he really enjoyed working with us.
Yeah.
So he left after that and then called me up and said, or sent me a private message and said, brother, I want to come back out. So I said, I've got some work. So he came back out, spent another 5 or 6 weeks.
I was flying back and forth.
And then he flew back, and then he said, dude, what are the odds of me moving out there and working with you guys? At that point, it got to the point where when he was gone, I missed him.
Yeah.
We were family. We were brothers. And I think it also shows that it was the first time that I had worked with somebody that I was like, we're thinking the same. We want to
Right.
achieve the same things. And
Yeah.
it was really great that we could battle together
That's
in
cool.
setting tile.
Yeah.
And Shawn was a little different. Shawn can talk about why he came down.
Where'd you come down from?
I came down from Lacey, Washington.
Okay.
Wife and kid, 14-year-old boy.
Okay.
I was in a job I was selling commercial tires for Bridgestone,
Okay.
and it was just running me down.
Really?
Door to door, doing cold calls. You're constantly being watched, and
Yeah.
I just couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
So Jason and I had talked a couple times, and he was like, well, you know, if you want, you come down here and work with me.
Yeah.
And I was at the point in my life where I was just like, okay.
Wow.
So I talked to the wife about it, and she was like, yeah, sure, let's make a change.
Yeah.
So we came down in 2016, and my background really is more, I was a commercial residential painter for 18 years.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of fell into the waterproofing and the grouting and the siliconing, because I'm just good with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Very meticulous.
The fine finishing.
Yeah.
Fine finishing, man.
He comes in when the job's done, and he does the he caulks the
Yeah.
top of our base, and he caulks the sides with caulking instead of hard grouting, and
meticulous
then
stuff.
Schluter,
he
yeah.
paints it and makes it look. You know, I mean, when we do a full job like general contracting and things like that,
Yeah.
like when a job's done, it looks it is flawless
Yeah.
from start to finish. You
Wow.
know, for
That's
sure.
cool.
So.
Yeah, I actually got somebody made a comment on one of my posts yesterday, and I haven't had a chance to respond back. But he said, you know, he was talking to me, but I don't think he realized that Shawn does all the silicone work. But he said that your corners with your silicone looks absolutely perfect, you know, and it looks perfect because he's a master at
He's
it.
a master at it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't stop
I don't
with
have the
silicone
fingers
until I
for it.
like it.
Yeah.
Until it's perfect.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't silicone nothing.
Yeah.
No, I can't even. I'm not even going to put silicone in my truck because it'll get on me.
Yeah.
I don't have the
And
fingers for it.
So I don't want to leave out Brandon, just to speak on him really quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, Brandon Cook came to us a few months ago, and he's been amazing. Brandon does a lot of backsplashes. He's getting into a lot of floors. He's a 3.5, 4 year guy.
Is he a local guy?
He's a local guy, but he grew up on the coast.
Okay.
So I definitely want to say that Brandon is a huge part of our team.
He is now.
He's got a really positive attitude. He comes to work. He does his job. He doesn't complain. He wants to learn.
Yeah.
I think at first when you come into a place, you wanna kind of be dominant, like alpha. Like I don't need. Brandon is always wanting to learn, and he does what everybody else does. He always says he knows it. He knows it. But at the end of the day, he wants to learn. You know, a man's always going to be a man and be like,
And
I got this.
Think
you
about the
know?
situation he came into. He has to work for the Stoneman,
Yeah.
you know, and then I have my expectations. Shawn has his. I mean, his
Not
back
the
was
easiest
against
crew to
the
jump
wall.
into.
No.
But Brandon's been outstanding.
He's
I love
amazing.
him. We got nothing but love for him. So props to Brandon for being able to hang in with
Yeah,
this
he's
crew.
got an advantage right now. He's ahead of the game he's been doing this like 3 years, and he is. I wish I had the knowledge that he has available and
He's young.
the people around him when I first started laying tile, because I wouldn't have struggled so much
Totally.
when I first started.
Yeah.
He's learning, and he's learned from great guys. He was working with Jeff Okapinti.
Oh, sure.
And so he's fortunate to have worked with some really solid crews. So props to Brandon.
Cool.
And we're very proud to have him on the crew.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, this has been great, guys. I want to ask before we wrap this up here, maybe you start with Jeremy. You know, what are your goals for this crew? Where would you like to see this go? And then I'll just go round table here.
My goal is to just keep evolving and keep stepping up our game.
Yeah.
You know, we found at first when I first got here, we were a mess. We didn't have a system. We didn't know who fit in where and what to do. And every job that goes by, we learn because every job poses a different problem, a different, it needs a different solution. Because I mean, there's a method and a solution for every single job, and it's always different.
Yeah.
There's so many factors in a tile job, from the customers to the house to the layout of the house to the plumbing to the floor. I mean, there's so much to think about. I just want to keep pushing what we're doing and keep making it better.
Yeah.
And keep putting out good work.
That's
I mean,
cool.
because that's where it is. I mean, you can talk all day long, but I mean, what matters most is what you're doing with your hands at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I
What
like
you're
where your
putting out.
head's at with the systems and the processes because
it makes a difference.
Yeah, 4 really skilled guys, if they're not communicating, it's just the job might take twice as long.
Nope.
Yeah. What about?
I mean, I'm kind of the same way.
Yeah.
Since I've gotten here, I want to grow.
Yeah.
I know Jason does too, and it's really hard to find guys out there that work like we do.
Yeah.
Nonstop.
Yeah.
All day long.
Yeah.
Because in the end, it's all about putting out a perfect product and making money.
Yeah.
Tile money.
Yeah.
It's really what
That's
it is.
what he wants.
For me, that's huge.
Yeah.
So to grow for me would be awesome, but it is not easy.
Yeah.
It is not easy.
Yeah.
And with 4 guys, you hit that ceiling in the sky.
Yeah.
Where it just stops. So growing would be really important.
As far as adding people.
As far as adding people
Yeah.
and, figuring out the correct way to do it.
Yeah.
And just kind of moving forward. And, for me personally, changing my attitude day to day would also be really good. So I'm working on that.
What are you doing?
What?
What are you doing to change it? What are you working on?
He's gonna ask
We all
hard question.
We all have things that we're working on. Like
like books or meditation.
I started going to the gym, which is helping
Okay.
a lot. Helping a
Nice.
lot, health wise,
Yeah.
attitude wise.
Yeah.
Trying to get out of bed earlier and start my morning a little earlier.
Okay.
Sweating a little bit when he asked you that question.
Yeah, I know.
You'll be all right.
Now I've been sweating for the last hour. But yeah, growing to me is huge.
Well, I was talking to Brian Stevens. You guys all know Brian across the mountains here. What are these
Love
mountains?
him.
What are these called? Mountain range here?
Cascades.
Cascades. I was going
yeah.
to say Cascade. That's what I was going to say. No. Yeah, I was talking to Brian, and anybody out here who's listened or talked to Brian, had the pleasure to sit down and chat with him, just knows that he's just an incredible person.
Amazing.
Just super good, positive energy.
Love him.
But I was having a beer with him, and he said, "Luke, I wasn't always this way." He's like, there was a time when I was like the angriest dude on the block. I was pissed off at the world, and so I had to talk. I was like, well, what'd you do? Because I'm always curious. And he said, I had to change my mindset. I had to make these little changes and day by day. And he's like, at first I just started forcing a smile on my face. Yeah. And he's like, I just had to force a smile. I just had to fake it. He's like, but I started listening to more relaxing music. I started, working less weekends and doing all these things. So, but he said something interesting. My point is he said, it's very easy to be negative. That's the easy route. Like, it's easy to pick somebody's work apart. It's easy to say negative things. It's easy to put other people down. He said, but the hard thing is to be positive. He said, it's hard, but just like everything in life, just like we're talking, like the hard things in life are so worth it. So, that's the only reason I ask, because there's other people out there struggling with this. I mean, I've been negative in my life, and right now I'm on top of the world, but it's not an easy pursuit. So thanks for sharing.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think that I'm definitely on the pursuit of perfection. I mean, I really am.
Yeah.
I'm pursuing perfect tile installations, and I am going mad doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeremy and I working together on that job on Friday, just working with a tile that no matter what we do to it, it's not going to look perfectly flat. It was bowed. It didn't matter. It was a 4x12, and I'm not going to tune that no matter what.
Right.
And I just mentally, I was so upset that I couldn't make it perfect that I literally felt like I was going to vomit in that room. I mean, the feeling I get when I feel like I cannot make this perfectly flat and I can't make this visually perfect.
Wow.
Legitimately, it makes me want to throw up. I get sick inside.
You asked me 10 times. You're like, is this going to be okay? Is this all right? What do you think?
Yeah, because I literally feel just this disgusting feeling of I am searching for that. I want to be. I want I want every aspect of our work to be perfect.
Yeah.
And start to finish. Right now, our prep is so good and so clean that we could leave that.
Yeah.
We've had customers say, literally customers have said, I'll take that as my shower
Yeah.
because it's so
And I'm like,
pristine.
well, you could shower in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so
Yeah,
pristine and so
exactly.
perfect. So I think that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, and what I'm looking, to add on to that and not to dominate the conversation,
Yeah.
I'm trying to instill that into the guys.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get Jeremy, because he's such an amazing tile mechanic. Like, he's so far beyond what the norm is as a tile setter. He's got an incredible ability to make things look very, very good. His brain works well. He knows layout. He knows how to put it all together. He gets 100% coverage. He knows how to tune things up. He knows, how to. We're all a little messy. We could all be a little cleaner.
That's what I'm working on right now.
But what I'm trying to get for Jeremy is to realize. I want him to find that feeling inside that I have when I'm working on something, trying to make it perfect. Jeremy has the ability to do that. It's a personal thing. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I want whoever walks into my job, I want them to have a physical reaction to what they're looking at when they see it. My motivation is to create perfection. So, and with Shawn, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to show Shawn that he has the ability to do all these things. It's hard for a guy who is not a tile setter, and 3 years in, he's trying to learn all this stuff with 2 masters at this trade.
Yeah.
And so I'm really trying to get Shawn to embrace that, to kind of get excited about what we're doing. Like this job, the Connell job that we're doing, like I told everybody, this is exciting.
Yeah.
Like when it's done and we get these glass panels in there, we're going to take pictures and people are going to go, holy shit. Like, how did you pull that off? This is rad.
That's cool.
So, and that carries into the group.
Yeah.
When I do my videos and when I do my messaging, I'm trying to, like, I genuinely feel that fire and that passion. I mean, you're sitting here next to me and I'll bet you know it's real.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know.
This isn't fake for sure.
And I feel it in my blood. And so that's really what I'm doing. I'm trying to get this crew, Brandon, Shawn, and Jeremy, to inject whatever that is that I have into themselves, because they all have the potential to get there. And
and it all starts with having a conversation about
absolutely.
it.
We
You
talk
gotta
about
talk
it. Yeah, we
and
talk about it.
you got to be willing.
Yeah.
The hard thing for me is being willing to think differently than I want to think, because I want to do things how Jeremy wants to do things, but that's not what it's about. In order for me to make it work, I have to think, well, how does Jason do it?
Yeah.
And I have to think differently, and I have to be open to doing things how I normally don't do them.
Yeah,
right. So that's really where
you
it's
gotta
coming.
be open. You got to be willing to learn.
You got to be willing to learn. You got to be
Yeah.
willing to listen.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be anywhere without Shawn Parker, Dirk Sullivan, Don Welter, who taught me the application.
Yep.
William White, John Esteve, Ron Nash, Aaron Chafee, Dan Costanza.
Yeah.
All these guys that I have. That I call daily to bounce things off of, and you. And so before we wrap this up, I want everybody watching to understand that what Luke is doing is
It's important.
I like that. I don't even need to add music to this.
this is what we get
Just
out
get him-
here. This dude and his old school Merc
No, I think what you're
rolling
doing is
by,
important.
and nothing sounds like a Merc. Shawn, that's a 200. Look how small it is. So I want to say this real quick about Luke.
Yeah.
What Luke is trying to do, peeps, is it's incredible. He's trying to show all of you how to make more money in this business, how to manage your business better. It's something that we didn't touch on this, but I am not very good at that part of it, the numbers game. And so really, really, really pay attention to what Luke is doing out here. It is next level. He takes these trips, probably like a vacation trip, and he's taking hours and hours of his day to come in here to talk to us so that successful crews in this country can tell their story to you, and maybe you'll take something from it and become a better business owner and installer. So Luke deserves a tremendous amount of credit for what he's doing. People in this industry are taking him very seriously. So I just want to let everybody know that you should be doing that too.
Oh, thank you, Jason.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate that. I really appreciate you guys all like taking the time out of your day to sit down. I mean, like I said earlier, it's giving me goosebumps because it's not every day you get a whole crew just so excited.
It's
And
not a bad day.
it's a great day to be out here, you know?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Plus we're on
Well,
the road.
thank you for
Yeah.
for reaching out. I
Really
mean,
cool.
the cool thing is about this industry and Global Tile Posse and Tile Geeks and Tile Love and these groups, they and Flooring Installers of America, these bigger groups that are more respectful. This is why we're here, because of these groups, and Tile Money is a huge deal. So you know, pretty incredible. Get involved and learn your trade and reach out. Luke, I mean, tell me, just because I'm curious, if somebody are you available for conversations if people reach out to you?
I'm super available.
Right.
I've had a lot of conversations, a lot of good conversations. You know, I'm really happy to talk to anybody about their business or, you know, products,
Setting
even
tile.
setting tile.
JB,
even,
what
you know.
about you? You're available.
Are you
I'm
available?
available all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean?
Yeah, my number's on my Facebook page.
There you go.
Right
I
on.
like having conversations. I mean, that's
too.
how people grow. Is by
Yeah.
it starts with conversations.
Yeah.
By
And
talking
as everybody
about
knows, I'm
it,
available.
learning.
So yeah, I mean, this is Luke's podcast, but I wanted to make sure that he gets his due because he deserves
It's
a
all part
whole
of the
he
industry.
deserves a whole hell of a lot of credit for what he's doing.
Hey,
So
thank you,
thank you,
Jason.
Luke, for what you do, brother.
Oh yeah, my pleasure. You're welcome.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
man. This has been a good time.
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna wrap this up here. Jump in the water, cool off, and all right, tile friends. We'll talk to you soon.
Posse up.
All right, friends. Wasn't that a great interview with Jason and parts of his a part of his crew there? I really enjoyed getting to know them. We've got another Tile Money tip right now. Ron and I have been discussing the 5 core concerns when it comes to negotiating deals. And so understanding how these 5 core concerns work and the emotions that they bring up in effect while you're negotiating your price, you know, with a potential customer, are going to help us to win more jobs at the price that we need to be charging. So what we want to do here when we're thinking about negotiations, the end goal is to have a happy outcome for both parties, to come to an agreement with our customers. You want X and I can give you X, and this is my price, and these are the reasons why. And that's basically what Ron is helping us do here. So we've already discussed the first 3: appreciation, autonomy, affiliation. If you didn't catch those, go back 3 or 4 episodes back. There's one in every episode, and check those out. And today we are discussing the 4th concern, which is status. So enjoy this tip with Ron Nash, sponsored by Laticrete International right now.
Status.
Okay.
All right, status. Now, it's really, you want to start, in leadership in companies, if you want to start seeing people get really upset, attack their status.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, you will see people get angry.
Yeah.
So for example, in this particular situation, if let's say the general contractor works in a matrix or works in an organization where there's other people who also make that decision, you could create a major taboo violation if you were to go around this person rather than respecting the person's status to make a decision. And a lot of times it could be just as simple as saying, hey, you know what? I recognize that you're the person who's going to make this decision. I get it, man. Anything I can do to help you. I appreciate that I appreciate that your decision's difficult. And I want to be able to help you as best I can to help you make the right decision here.
Yeah.
And that, by the way, that sentence can be said in about a million different ways to homeowners, to general contractors, to the guy who's, you're working with every day on your job site.
Yeah.
You know, people work themselves to a position in life, and then they feel very connected subconsciously to where that position is and how that's providing for them. Yeah. So it's really important that status is part of the consideration.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, friends, that was a great tip. I really hope you're enjoying these. Thanks for reaching out. Please leave me a 5-star review on iTunes, and please sign up for my weekly newsletter where we were discussing very actionable strategies and tips to put into your business today. So stay profitable out there, tile friends.